Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. Here's another review video for you guys. If you can tell by the title, I'm going to do something a little bit different today. I'm sort of sidetracking from the Before Watchmen series, but I think you guys are going to really like this series. I just recently picked it up a few weeks ago, and I hadn't had a chance to read it until I think yesterday or so, but I'm really glad to be reviewing this series because this is the best series I think I've read this entire month. Well, the month of October, I should say. Um, and this, oh my gosh, there's so much to say about this series. So I'm just gonna go right into it. In my previous video, I talked about how I picked up some new comics, and I think some of the comics that I showed you were Let's Play God, Point of Impact, and when I was looking over my previous video, I was so mad because I totally forgot to show you guys this other comic that I bought. And it's called Haunted Horror, and it's just a collection of horror stories. I think there's like a little bit over 5 or so, I think. But yeah, it's just a collection of horror comics, and I think I'm gonna be reviewing that maybe next week. I'm not entirely sure, but here is the cover, and this is like, I'm sure a lot of you can recognize the cover. Um, it gets a lot of media attention, like on Tumblr. I always see this picture, on Pinterest, sometimes on Facebook. Yeah, and look at this creepy guy over here. Warlock the Warlock. I thought that was really cool. But yeah, I was so mad that I didn't show you guys my previous video, but I'm showing you now. So, and today the series that I'm going to be reviewing today is called Revival, and it's written by Tim Seeley and illustrated by Mike Norton. And it was, I think, like I said, the best series I've read for the month of October. I think the best series I've read for this year, period. And I can say that without any regrets because this series was so well done. The storyline is very strong, and there are so many twists and turns. I mean, Tim Seeley, the way he wrote this was very unique, and it was just so well done. So I'm just gonna show you the first one, and I have all 4 of them. I don't know how many books are in the series, but when I went to the comic book store, I just saw the 4 on the bookshelf, so I just picked them up. Why not? And I actually picked up this comic like it's like one of the spur of the moment things, because I'm trying to sort of take a break from DC and Marvel, sort of going into more independent comic book industries like Vertigo, and I think Image is one of them, Kaboom, and a whole bunch more. Whole bunch. The list is endless. But yeah, let me just give you a brief summary on all 4 books. So you guys, I mean, it was just so well done. So yeah, I'm just gonna go right into it then. So basically, the setting takes place in Wisconsin, and there's this huge epidemic that's just taking the city by storm. Well, the town, I should say. It's a very small town. And a lot of, there's basically what the epidemic is that the dead are all of a sudden coming back to life, and there's just no explanation for it. And the creatures who are resurrecting from the dead are called the Revivals, hence the title. So no one knows what's going on. The whole town is under quarantine. The town borders are blockaded by the police, and one of the characters is actually a police officer, and her name is Officer Dana Cypress. And another main character is her sister Martha Cypress, who I'm not going to tell you because it's going to just spoil everything for you guys. I just want you guys to pick it up and find out for yourselves. But Martha is a very, very interesting character. Very interesting. So basically, Officer Dana, her father, is like head sheriff. He is, he's basically a leader of the Revitalized Citizen Arbitration Team. I'm actually reading it from the comic itself because I totally forgot the name. But basically, it's this small investigating team, sort of going in to figure out who the revivals are, basically how they can be killed, how they work, how they function. Do they function like normal human beings? Are they still human? Because there's just a lot of questions still lingering in the air. There's not much known about who these creatures are and why it's happening. A lot of people are thinking it's a form of terrorist attacks, and the whole town is just under constant fear. And most of the citizens are Christians or Catholics, really devout Catholics, and there's just so many twists and turns to the story. And basically, Officer Dana, the more she looks into the situation, I mean, there's so many characters. It's basically a small team just investigating who the revivals are, where they came from, who they are, and whether it's a blessing or if it's a curse. Because, I mean, let's say if you lost a loved one and your loved one came back to life, I mean, is that a moment of rejoice? Are they still the same person? There's just so many questions going back and forth. And if you're into the Walking Dead series, I think I highly recommend Revival. And there's just so many twists and turns to this. I mean, when I read it, it was just so bizarre. Tim Seeley really does have a dark mind, I think. And this was just so well done. And the more you look into who the revivals are, and when you look more into where they came from and basically like what they're about, it's just, are they still human? Are they not human? And you can tell the revivals, when they come back to life, there's something totally, like, they're not the same as they were before then. They're just something really different about them. There's just like this evil aura, and they're just every time like they get cut or they get hurt physically, their skin or their wound just regenerates and it heals completely. It's just really crazy. And I'm not sure how exactly you kill these creatures. I think you have to burn them. Like with most zombies, you have to like shoot them in the head. But with these, if you shoot them in the head, they still come back to life. It's the strangest thing. I think you have to kill these creatures, you have to burn their body. But yeah, this series was really, really intense. And I really do recommend you guys picking it up. I mean, it's just, if you're into the whole horror and zombie sort of flicks, I think Revival, you're gonna really enjoy Revival. And the way each series just blends in with each other, they just blend in with each other so beautifully. Because sometimes when you have a comic book, like if you get the first series, and then you get the second series, they don't there's like a gap, and I noticed that with a lot of comic book series, there's sometimes that gap in between them. They're just like completely separate stories, but Revival is just like the continuation, so it's just like one big book basically. Um, but yeah, it's just there's so many twists and turns in the story, and I think you guys are really gonna like it. And there are parts of it. I mean, I think my favorite character in this series is the main character. I feel like I really don't want a character in this series that I really am sort of sketchy about is Martha, because in the beginning she's fine, she's basically a good character in the beginning, but over each issue there's this transformation about her, and it's just I don't want to give it away because it's gonna spoil it all for you, and I really don't want to spoil anything because this series was just there's so much to say. I mean, I really think Tim Seeley and Mike Norton. I think Tim Seeley has become my favorite comic book writer, up there next to Jeff Johns, and it was done so wonderfully, and I think you guys should pick it up. I mean, oh my god, this when I read it, there's numerous stories to this series. I mean, you have one story when focusing basically on cracking down on the revivals, and then there's another separate story about Martha. But yeah, Martha's a very interesting character, and Dana, she's like this officer. She's a single mom. She's raising her son part of the time, but most of the time her son goes and lives with the father because well she's a cop and she's always on duty, and yeah, it's really it was some parts were emotional, but it's just mostly all blood and gore basically. So if you're into that kind of stuff, then Revival is the one for you. And it's funny because when I actually was checking out, the guy at the counter was like, "Oh my god, finally someone is picking up this series." I'm like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "Oh, um, this series is really good. I mean, the comic book artist, I think he actually said he met the comic book artist. He said that he thought this series wasn't going to get, excuse me, he thought a lot of people weren't going to like this series, but the thing about independent and indie comics is that they don't get enough attention that they deserve. And I think Revival deserves a lot of attention because it was done so well, and I really do recommend it. Um, I think, like I said, I don't know how many books are in the series. I just saw 4 on the bookshelf. Um, but maybe sometime this week I can sort of find it. I don't know, but there's just so much to say about this. I don't want to give too much away because it's it's like your typical mystery crime, zombie horror gore type of genre, and it's just really good. So I really hope you guys go and check it out. Even if you don't have to buy it, even if you go into the store and just read it, it's just really really good. And yeah, I think that's that for today's video. If you guys have any requests or recommendations, um, just leave it in the comment section below, and feel free to subscribe to my channel. I know my friend's magazine should be coming out soon, so you guys can check that out. And definitely, if you guys are interested in joining the magazine, definitely check it out. I mean, we need a lot more people on this project, and we need all the help we can get, basically, because it's just basically my friend, Isabel, me, and I think Brendan. I hope I said your name right, Brendan, who also submitted a piece of work. So yeah, I'll put the link below, and I hope you guys check it out. And I hope you guys have a good week. So later.